you expect relief, but you don't know how it's going to land. So the anxiety doesn't go away. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning.
First off, let me answer one of the most popular questions on this channel. No, I am not dead. Darcy, Alki, Ruby, and I are happily adjusting to our life here in Norway. The 18-month time gap since my last video in this series, well, it's been driven by my focus on school and work. No complaints, but, well, my days have been spent 9 to 5 at the university and nights working remotely. But that is changing. Darcy, Alki, Ruby, and I have settled into life here in Bergen.
This is as good a day as any.
Home is in the city, with everything seemingly 5 minutes away. A 5-minute walk to town, 5 minutes to the market, 5 minutes to the forests of Fløyen. We walk everywhere because we don't have a car, haven't really needed one. The benefit of walking everywhere is it forces us to get out and exercise. It's been great.
The morning walks are just spectacular. You can't beat the view. And the fact that 5 minutes from the house, we've got this. It's incredible.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live.
I think it's the solitude. I mean, it's amazing that I can be here in this city, and depending upon the time of day, you got it all to yourself. It's incredible.
Every Saturday morning, rain, shine, fog, wind, sleet, or snow, the four of us head up the hill above our house.
The saying is, no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. This is still bad weather.
For May. I guess it's still April.
Yeah, we've got 3 days left in April? 2 days left in April.
You don't count today.
Right, yeah. What? Yeah, T1. The song may be April in Paris, but nobody sang April in Bergen.
At the top of Fløyen, we sit on the same bench, drink our coffee, eat a pastry, marvel at the view, and catch each other up about our week. We watch the human theater in front of us as tourists pour out of the funicular. Eventually, we make our way back down the hill, along one of the multitude of trails through the forest. It's a grand way to start the day. Norwegians like to say, "Ut på tur, aldri sur." Out for a walk, never grumpy.
Oh, we've lost them. They've gone over the cliff.
If you have a dog, then you know they forced you to get out of the house multiple times a day. Alki and Ruby have settled in nicely. I'm reminded almost daily how fortunate we are to travel these paths. This town is a tourist destination for thousands of people each year, and I pinch myself that this is home. Each day we visit the park next to our house with our dogs. This place is a magnet for locals and tourists alike. One of the most popular things in the park is this slide. It's a marvel of twists and turns down the mountainside.
This is my turn.
Or at least a marvel for some.
See if this goes.
Apparently, the drag coefficient of my butt is substantial. Where Darcy experienced Mr. Toad's wild ride, mine was a journey of disappointment. Our apartment is next to Skansedammen, a decommissioned fire station that is a city landmark. In the winter, folks skate here. In the summer, the kids wade in the pool. The best part of Skansedammen, though, are these benches that overlook the city, the ever-changing weather, the boats coming in and out of the harbor. As Darcy says, the view never disappoints. Bergen has forced me to get in better shape. Everything is either uphill or downhill. My commute entails walking 2 kilometers to or from my office at the University of Bergen. For 2 years, I've been researching and writing on applying artificial intelligence to the process of creating video stories. It's been a complicated problem to solve. This daily journey affords me the time to mull problematic parts of my research. Like a hike through the forest, the solitude of my foot commute surfaces solutions to problems that previously felt intractable. The walk along these cobbled streets gives me time for contemplation, helping me to randomly connect ideas. I've no clue the actual number of times I stopped along the journey to write down an idea. I think it was daily. It's never lost to me that these moments of inspiration are framed by Bergen's architectural vestiges of history. Sure, the town is burned to the ground, often. Hey, their football team is even called Brann, Norwegian for fire. But after each catastrophe, they rebuild, restoring the community. In this setting, you're never sure if the building next to you is 500 years old or only 100. Using an American time scale, 100 is really old, and a 900-year-old town, not so much. There are not many American big box stores, strip malls, or anonymous downtowns that can match our new home. My office is a little more than a cubicle in a converted classroom. Usually, I'm the first to arrive. There are 14 assigned desks, but only 4 of us are regulars. A fellow student dubbed us the A-team in hopes of our final grade. I've discovered that I work best when I structure things through ritual and habit. The process of unpacking, unlocking, and setting up the computer helps me focus on my day. One of the reasons I stopped making videos is, well, there wasn't much to show. I spent day after day sitting at my desk, writing. It makes for bad TV, the very definition of a visual snooze fest.
Later on in the final exam.
I started school during the pandemic, which meant very little in-class teaching. Remote learning got old really fast. When a wave of infection would subside and campus reopened, I hated distance learning so much that I'd go find an empty classroom and join from there. For some reason, it felt more like school. My goal was to generate 3 pages a day, each day for 3 months, then rewrites. That never happened. After 3 months, I was only half done and I was running out of time. I think when you make a big change, especially when that adventure happens later in life, it forces you to exercise your brain. This work is difficult, honestly, far more difficult than I expected. Still, the rewards are immeasurable. My perspectives expand and the task eventually comes into focus. I love learning, and I've tried to grow and learn each day. I'm not always successful at it, but I concentrate on the big picture and I savor each minute of the journey. One might argue that I've been somewhat of an overachiever. This thesis was supposed to be between 70 and 100 pages long, but I found that AI is so complicated and ever-changing, my writing was approaching 200 pages. Each day felt like I was pushing a rock up a hill only to have it roll back down. I chose this desk because of the window. On warm days, I love feeling the breeze and listening to the church bells outside my window. But this is Bergen, and warm days are few and far between. Usually, the view outside my window looks like this. The word I would use to describe Bergen's weather is volatile. Living in Bergen has taught me that the weather is an integral part of the city's identity and culture. It shapes the rhythm of daily life, inspires creativity, and forces you to connect with nature. That's because when you're getting soaked to the bone in a rainstorm, you really can't avoid that connection. This place is known for rain. We moved here from another place known for rain, Seattle. The two cities may seem like they have a lot in common when it comes to precipitation, but in Seattle, the rain falls down. In Bergen, it goes sideways. There are two things that make Bergen's weather so volatile. The first is the city sits on the chin of Norway's southwest coast, a direct hit for storms barreling across the Atlantic. When they slam into Bergen, loaded with moisture, they are too heavy to get over the mountains. The second is, Bergen is called the city between 7 mountains. And while locals can't completely agree on which of the 9 surrounding peaks are the actual 7, this topography makes the clouds produce copious amounts of rain. It forms a catch basin that makes Bergen the outright wettest city in Europe. Folks who don't live in Norway usually seem to visualize the country as a frozen wonderland. While that's not entirely wrong, at least for much of the country in winter, Bergen is different. Winters are wet, not white. Often when it does snow here, a day later, the next rainstorm just washes it away. But not this past winter. The snow started arriving in November, often staying around for days or even weeks. Each new snowfall would refresh the town in a mantle of white. For us, it was magical. Or at least mostly magical. Being the city between 7 mountains, it seems you only walk uphill or downhill. There is not much flat in Bergen. Now you can probably guess where I'm going with this. When the compact snow inevitably turns to ice in a daily cycle of thaw and refreeze, our walks became a gymnastic adventure. As winter turned to spring, the mid-May deadline for submitting my research rapidly approached.
My thesis, my book, if you will, is due in 2 days. And I'm in the home stretch. I can see the finish line. I'm looking forward to having my life back. You do sacrifice a lot doing something like this, but it's important. I can't really say whether the work I've done is any good. Hope it doesn't suck. Some things you just can't quite get right, and you do the best you can. But yeah, you definitely have mixed feelings at the end of this sort of task.
On May 15th, 3 of us who share the office, Hannah, Kira, and myself, decided we should celebrate the milestone together. We wanted to submit our research at the same time, side by side. Okay, there may have been a plan for drinks afterwards.
Is it student web? Which?
Yeah, student.
No, that's what I thought.
When you work on something for 2 years, devoting the time and energy, making real sacrifices to complete a task, the notion of submitting it via a website seemed, well, anticlimactic. It felt like I was just pushing my paper off a cliff, never to be seen again. Honestly, the process made me nervous.
Log in med feide. Yeah.
I was so muddled, I struggled to navigate the webpage, with Hannah guiding me through the process. I was even squinting at the screen like somebody's grandpa, trying to figure out if the baked potato is done in the microwave.
This is nice.
I know how hard Hannah and Kara have worked. I know how hard I've worked. Sharing this experience together somehow seemed like the right thing to do.
Hey!
So click more at the top. And then the bottom one, I think.
Thesis submission. So you guys are all at the, as am I. We're up to finalize once, yeah. You expect relief, but you don't know how it's gonna land. So the anxiety doesn't go away. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Loading data. Yes! Isn't that amazing?
Let's go get drunk.
Yeah, you know, you're tearing up, you know, it's like such an emotional relief.
Honestly, when it was done, I didn't know how to feel. I simply felt numb. A month later, after the faculty said my work didn't suck and I had passed, we gathered for the ritual of graduation.
Graduation day. And to be honest, I have not worn a tie in like 2 years, and I don't even know if I remember how to tie it. Pretty interesting to put a bow, quite literally, on this experience of being here at school. But I'm very excited to finish up my tenure here at the university. Well, there's a lot to do.
Da begynner vi deg på digital kultur.
At UIB, there are no mortarboards, no robes, no diplomas, no pomp, no circumstance.
Drew Keller. Drew's thesis presents an analysis of the current applications of artificial intelligence for media generation.
This event is simply an opportunity to stand in front of friends and family and say, I'm done. And that was that. Although honestly, I still feel numb. At the end of the ordeal, you're left with no sense of how or even if the research is going to be useful. It gets published, but any future use, it's out of my control. And just because I know someone will ask, you can find a link to my research in the description below. Some parts are a bit technical, but I think the information in chapters 2 and 3, it's pretty digestible. These chapters will help you to frame some of the potential and the problems with artificial intelligence. For a little more technical insight, Chapter 4 may help you to understand the inner workings of generative AI, applications like ChatGPT and image generators. And just to show folks how you can use AI to accomplish interesting creative things, I even produced an audiobook of the paper.
A likely consequence of incorporating AI into our lives is we will be outsourcing much of the mundane minutiae of our day.
That guy is an AI-generated voice. This means you can learn about AI as you work out at the gym, scrub the kitchen, or paint the fence. It feels good to be back telling these stories. As you can see, they've been warmly received by one and all. I started these videos for my family, and I'm genuinely surprised when others find my musings of interest. After all, who cares about an old guy's personal life? The fact that you have stayed to the end of this means a lot to me. These videos reflect the events and experiences that I've had through my own personal cultural lens. Part of my growth as a person and as a resident of Norway is discovering how my cultural myopia often fails to afford an accurate perspective of the moment. Only in hindsight do I realize where I could have done better. The fun part is discovering these weak points and striving to be a better person. My friends here, well, they've been gracious when I've stumbled, and I genuinely love my Bergen community. I've found that cultivating this sort of growth mindset, embracing change, going back to school, working to accept others, well, it's a challenge, and I'm certainly not perfect at it. But I think it's a challenge each of us should work on daily.